This collar is one of the very first pieces I made years and years ago, which is why I chose it to become my first sewing pattern. Let's start making it together. As always, begin with washing and pressing your fabric. Place the pattern on the fabric fold and carefully cut out all the pieces. Once everything is cut, you should have 2 collar pieces, 2 ties, and the ruffle option you've chosen to make. As the tutorial continues, you will be able to see both variations and decide which style feels most like your own. For the ruffles, I decided to create 2 different options, a soft fabric ruffle version and a delicate lace trim version. So this tutorial will be divided into these 2 parts, so you can follow along whichever style you prefer. For both versions, we'll first need to make the ties for the collar. You can also find detailed instructions in my illustrated sewing guide. Start by folding the raw edge of the tie inward by 1 cm and press it well. Next, fold one long side toward the center by 1 cm and then fold the other side the same way so both edges meet in the middle. Press again. Finally, fold the tie in half lengthwise to enclose all the raw edges and create a clean, neat finish. Press everything once more. Sew as close to the edge as possible and repeat the same steps for the second tie. Now we can move on to the lace trim version. You can add as much lace as you like, and in my written instructions you will find more detailed proportions and measurements. Place the front collar piece flat on the table with the right side facing up. Lay the lace on top with the right side of the lace facing the collar piece and pin it all around. Then add the ties, making sure to leave about 1 cm from the neckline edge. When you start sewing, fold the beginning and end edges of the lace twice by about 0.5 centimeters to create a clean and polished finish. And then sew all around the collar using a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Next, pin the ties toward the center of the collar so they stay safely out of the way while attaching the second collar piece. This will prevent them from getting catch in the seam while sewing. Place the second collar piece on top with the right side facing down toward the lace and the wrong side facing up. Pin everything carefully all around the collar and make sure to leave an opening of about 10 to 12 centimeters at the center neckline, so the collar can be turned right side out later. Sew all around the collar with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. After stitching, trim the corners diagonally to reduce bulk and create cleaner points once turned out. Then make small notches all around the curved edges of the collar so it can lay smoothly and evenly after turning. Turn the collar right side out. And give it a good press. Now close the opening. You can do this either by machine stitching or by hand stitching, like I'm doing here. Personally, I prefer hand stitching because it gives a much smoother and cleaner finish. You can use either a leather stitch or a slip stitch for this step. Now we are moving to the second option, the fabric ruffle version. Cut long wide strips for the ruffles. You will find the exact measurements in my illustrated sewing instructions. Join all the strips together and press the seam lines flat. Fold one short and inward by 1 cm at both the beginning and the end of the ruffle strip. Then fold the strip in half lengthwise and press it well. To create gathers, adjust your sewing machine settings. Set your stitch length to the widest setting, increase your thread tension to the maximum, and sew straight without backstitching at the beginning or end. This method will create soft, even gathers, and you can always adjust them later if you want a fuller or softer effect. Now pin the ruffles and ties onto the collar the same way we did for the lace trim version. Again, make sure to secure the ties toward the center so they stay out of the way while attaching the second collar piece. And don't forget to leave the opening at the neckline so the collar can be turned right side out later. The collar pieces are sewn together. Turn the collar right side out and press everything well. Here, close the opening using your preferred method. You can see how much control hand stitching gives while closing the gap, which is why I personally recommend this method. The final result looks much cleaner and more seamless. And now both collars are finished. I honestly can't decide which version I love more. I made so many of these throughout the years and they can be styled and worn however you like. If you found this tutorial helpful, please support me with a subscribe, comment or like. It would really mean so much to me. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.